This is part 3 of the tutorial How to Machine Knit the Everything Sweater. But first, a quick recap. In part 1, we measured, swatched, and calculated. In part 2, we knit the back and bodice in one piece, leaving us with armholes. In part 3, we will knit the 3/4 length sleeve. Download the companion pattern from twistedyarns.com to get the instructions for all the sleeve possibilities, amongst other things. The link is in the description below. Now we're going to start the sleeve. Remember, we have 56 needles still in work. Guess what? The sleeve is 56 stitches wide. Now I'm going to pull all my needles out to hold position because I am going to do a latch tool crochet cast on. What I like to do is I like to start with the yarn to the outside. I'm not going to create a knot, but I'm going to bring my hook up underneath it between the first and the second needle and behind the latch and just grab it and pull it through. That's how I start my crochet cast on, because then I don't have a knot to deal with. For some reason, I just don't like them. And then I'm doing this slowly, so it's harder to do, but then I'm going to come up between the next needles, and I'm going to do it relatively firm, but not too firm, because you want to be able to have your stitches knit off on the next row. And I'm just going to do a crochet cast on like this all the way across. I'll meet up with you when I get there. When I get to this end, I am simply going to take my last loop and put it on the last needle. Bring my yarn under the needle and into my carriage. Now I've made sure that my carriage is set to knit. And I'm going to push these back. And I'm going to get ready to go. Okay, so I just got all my crochet cast on, and this time I'm going to knit 56 plus 28, which is 84 rows. Sound familiar with the numbers? Now, if you have particularly long arms, you want to add a few more rows. Okay, and now it's time to add some weight, just so I don't roll up on myself. I love these little triangle weights, they're wonderful. And I've got 2 rows already. So now we're going to do just the ever slightest little shaping, and I find it's a much more comfortable sleeve. So I've done my 84 rows. I'm slipping my lever to H so that when I cross over, anything in hold will stay in hold position. Okay. So now, on the side away from the needles, or on the side away from the carriage, I'm going to pull 2 needles into hold. I'm going to knit 1 row, and I'm going to wrap that end needle. That's just so I don't get holes. On this side, I'm going to pull 2 needles into hold. Then I'm going to wrap this end needle and bring 2 more on this side out into hold. I'm going to knit across the row. On this side, I'm going to go back and wrap and bring 2 needles out into hold here. On this side, I'm going to wrap and bring 2 needles out into hold. And I'm going to continue like this for 12 rows. wrap, and 2 out to hold. You want to make sure that you get under the needle, but you got to be aware of your yarn over here by your carriage. It can get hung up on these over here, and that's one of the reasons people use the automatic ramp. But for 12 rows, I'm not going to worry about it. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, okay. And then knit across. Okay, I'm going to wrap this one and bring 2 into hold. 10 on both sides. This makes 12. And I'm going to wrap on this side. Okay, so now I'm moving my weights just so that nothing falls off here. This is my 12 on this side. I'm going to wrap this one, and I'm going to bring the 12th out on this side. So now I have 12 on this side, 12 on this side, and I'm going to knit across and complete this row. Now, I'm going to add 2 more rows, but this time I'm going to move all these 12 back at the same time into upper work position, so they knit off on the next row. These over here will still hold, and that one needs to be wrapped. Okay, then I'm going to knit across, and it did exactly what I expected. All of these went back into work position. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Actually, I don't even have to push those back, but I did, because I could just switch my holder and it would knit off. Okay, so I'm going to knit. And I have just done a complete row across that. That row gives me the ability to seam this, have that even seam without any lumps or knots from, or bumps from binding off. So I'm going to leave an ample yarn tail. And now I'm going to switch over to my waste yarn, scrap yarn, and I'm going to knit about 10 rows. And cut that off. And we're going to take this off on the next row. And that is our sleeve with just a touch of shaping. See? And that edge is nice and smooth because there's only 12 extra rows in the middle. In our next video, we will complete the assembly and finish the sweater. See you then! Please take a moment to subscribe and ring the bell to receive notifications of upcoming videos. Happy machine knitting!